Hello everyone and welcome to Guild Wars Players News, the podcast where we take a look at Guild Wars game series news and talk about content on our site, Guild Wars Players. I'm Sithrith, and today we have Draculetta.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
And we have Athalros.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's disappointing.
No yes today?
No yes in some foreign language?
We just get
Not quite it, but I'm feeling kind of meh today.
It's all that
Meh
toast you've been eating.
Every day? Don't you just feel meh every day?
Sometimes I feel meh, but you know.
All right. Fair enough.
The mind of Athalros.
Yes, quite the enigma. Well, this week we don't have a whole lot of game news to talk about. It's another one of those slow weeks. We did get a new blog post today, actually, about how we're going to be able to get legendaries in Heart of Thorns. Now, none of us have made legendaries, and I think we've mentioned it on the show before that we have no plans in the near future to make legendaries because it is quite a feat. It takes quite a long time to gather all the materials you need for legendaries and everything. So none of us currently have plans to make legendaries because it's a whole ordeal. But this blog post is actually really interesting. Some of the things they're going to be doing in Heart of Thorns to make, to rearrange how you make legendaries is pretty interesting, actually. Specifically, they said that there's going to be a mastery track. If you remember, masteries are this new kind of system that we're going to be getting in Heart of Thorns. And one of the mastery tracks is dedicated to getting precursor weapons, which is, if you don't know, to make a legendary weapon, you have to have a precursor weapon, which is basically like a little baby version of the legendary, almost. It's an exotic weapon, and you need it to throw into the Mystic Forge with all your other materials that you spent ages getting, and then you get the legendary weapon. So this track helps you get precursors. It kind of guides you through the whole process of getting these precursors. The first 3 tiers of the mastery track will allow you to get precursors that we currently have in-game, and then presumably later tiers will let you get precursors for the new legendary weapons that we're going to get with Heart of Thorns. But it's really cool because it's changing how you get precursors. Like right now you can get precursors either randomly from the Mystic Forge, well not randomly so much, but mostly randomly, and also as a random drop from certain like world bosses and stuff. But with this mastery track, basically it breaks it up into a couple like tiers, and how you get the precursor is based on like the kind of the lore of the legendary weapons. So for this blog post, they go through how to get the precursor for the legendary mace, the Moot. And the Moot is named after the kind of celebratory meeting that Norns have to, show how awesome they are, like show their prowess and whatever. So basically, for the precursors, they take the two main themes from the legendary. So for the Moot, it's celebration and it's like prowess. It's like your fighting abilities. So part of the way to get the precursor for the Moot is to you get this collection and you have to collect trophies and stuff and fight fierce creatures, they say, to prove your fighting abilities. And then later on, there's like a celebration kind of collection where you have to dance. You have to dance with like world leaders and stuff. So like they posted a picture of the achievements panel for this to get the Energizer, which is like the precursor. And they have like their mouse hovered over it, and one of the little collection items, like achievement bits, is show off your dance moves for Queen Jenna of Kryta. So, I mean, like, it's obviously still going to take a long time to do these things and get the legendary item, but it sounds like a way more interesting way, and it sounds like it makes a lot more sense than just kind of throwing stuff into, like, the Mystic Forge over and over and grinding for these rewards. It just sounds like a much more engaging way to do it, I think. And kind of makes me almost want to, but obviously not till the expansion.
I mean, who wouldn't want to have the opportunity to have a dance-off with Logan?
Well,
because he'd get competitive if you're doing that for Queen Jenna.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you're dancing with Queen Jenna, he's going to get grumpy about it.
Yeah, he ain't having that.
Yep. Nope. Oh, Logan. So, yeah, and if you go to the site, they have their whole blog post is way more detailed. And, again, since I've never crafted a legendary, I'm not sure 100% of all the differences that are between the system and how it is currently, but it sounds pretty interesting. So that is really pretty much it for all the news we've gotten this week. That's really it. There were some sales though, Drac, right?
Yes, they are having the Lion's Arch commemorative sale. Why we're remembering Lion's Arch, I have no idea, but that's what they're calling this sale.
I think it was like a year ago, wasn't it, that the Lion's Arch was destroyed?
Oh, yeah, it was. Yep,
or like a little over a year ago?
I did read that, yes, because I couldn't figure out why they were calling it that, and then there was another post where they were talking about that. So in the store, you can get the Lion's Arch die kits. Mm-hmm. And did you buy any of those?
Nope, because the odds are not good, because there are only 6 exclusive dies in these die kits, and it pulls from a range of 25 dies, so 6 out of 25, not great odds. Didn't buy it.
The RNG. Also in the gem store is the permanent Captain's Airship Pass. And I know a lot of people are excited about this.
Well, and it was available for one day only, so it's already passed, unfortunately. But yeah, we had a comment explaining why it's so great. I didn't really understand it either, but when we get to comments, we'll talk about it, I guess. But basically it says, like, with every... You get to go to the Captain's Airship, and there's lots of convenient vendors and such there. Yeah. Also,
Scarlet's armor pieces are in the store. Those look kind of cool, I guess.
I bought them.
The shoulders are pretty sweet on those. And the toxic armor pieces in the store as well. And if you ever wanted a musical bass guitar, you can now buy one in the gem store. Mm-hmm. I mean, who wouldn't want a musical bass guitar, right? And the Mad Scientist mining tools also available in the gem store.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so nothing
too exciting.
Really exciting.
Like I said, I did get those Scarlet's Spalders, the shoulder guards. They're pretty cool. I like the kind of like the glowy, crystal-y, floaty thing that it's got going on. Looks pretty cool. So that's really it for game news. So we'll move on to Guild Wars Players news for our site. This week, we got another chapter of Kelsandra, the Human Ranger, and this continues the story of Kelsandra, the Human Ranger, and her Drake, Sturgeon. I still am not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. I think I am. Not 100% sure. Don't want to go into it too much for spoiler reasons, but it's really good. I really like this series because the characterization is really good, and I think like that's a really important thing for me. Like, you could have the coolest plot in the world, but if your characters don't make sense, I'm not a big fan. But the characters are really good, so go check it out. Read part 1, chapter 1, first, obviously, so you know what's going on, but definitely go read it. And, Drac, we got a new guide from Tapco this week.
We did, and it is another wonderful guide. This covers the Hall of Monuments. And you might be asking yourself, what the heck is the Hall of Monuments? What they did is, and I have previously kind of talked about this before with a few things, they wanted to kind of bridge the gap between the original Guild Wars and Guild Wars 2. So during the Eye of the North expansion, they created the Hall of Monuments. Mm-hmm. And basically, you are getting achievements in Guild Wars that if you link your account will carry over into Guild Wars 2. And Tapco does a wonderful job explaining how to do this, what you need to do it, and he tells you what you can get for doing it. And the reason why you would want to do this is you can get 10 different titles. You can get 1 full set of armor appearances for light, medium, and heavy. You can get 4 standalone armor skins, and those include 2 helmets and 2 sets of gauntlets. 1 weapon skin for each of the weapon types. There is 4 ranger pets and 4 minis that you can only get through the Hall of Monuments. And
I've
the
seen
nice...
them. I wish we could get the raccoon. That would be pretty nice. The mini.
Yeah, I'm actually working my way to get that. I don't have enough points to get that yet. I do have the orange tabby cat.
Ooh, kitty.
And I have the rainbow jellyfish as well
nice.
for the ranger pet. But the nice thing about the skins, the armor skins and the weapon skins, is once you have acquired them in Guild Wars, Well, actually, you don't acquire them. You just get enough points to unlock them, and then when you unlock them in Guild Wars 2, and Capco does explain this, you can use those at any time in your wardrobe panel, and it does not cost you a transmutation charge.
Yay.
So they are free to apply to any of your armor or your weapons. And basically, it's kind of an in-depth process, but Tapco does do a great job of explaining it.
Mm-hmm.
There are different monuments that you have to fill out, and each one of those will get you your points in different items. There's the Honor, Devotion, the Fellowship, the Resilience, and the Valor monument. And he does bring this up. There is a word of warning, though. Don't expect that if you think this sounds cool, don't expect that you're going to be able to just buy Guild Wars, pop into Guild Wars over the weekend, and get enough points to unlock this stuff.
Yeah, this sounds like quite an ordeal.
Quite the grind, yeah, it is. But basically, it was created for players that were playing Guild Wars to kind of tie them over to where Guild Wars 2 came out.
Makes
so
sense.
They expected most people would already have most of the stuff done in the game, which I did, and I do. There is some that I'm still working towards.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely go check this article out if you're curious, if you have a Guild Wars account, or maybe you're thinking about creating one. But just remember that word of caveat, it's going to be a grind for you if you do not already play Guild Wars and you decide you want some of these rewards.
Yep, so keep that in mind. But it sounds pretty cool. Especially, yeah, those minis and some of the ranger pets are pretty cool looking. So, Thelros, did you watch this week's video spotlight?
I did, because I do my homework.
Good. I'm glad you did your homework.
Yeah.
So tell us about this video.
Okay. This is a video by Ottawa, I assume it's pronounced. And this is them using the new first-person feature that the Arena put into the game recently. And they show off a lot of the wildlife you encounter in the game using apparently very high graphic settings and a sort of program that you can use to make it look a bit better in addition to that.
Yeah, they use Gem Effects, which is a software thing.
Yep, I used to use a sort of variant of that, or at least it's sort of the same thing for Lotro, and it works quite well on that. Yeah, nice. I would never be able to use this, though, because my computer can't handle it. But yeah, it is a nice video. Kind of shows what you could do if you had enough money for a good PC.
Yep. I kind of wonder how they managed to get so close to some of these animals, unless they were like a thief and they were using a lot of stealth.
Yeah,
maybe.
I think that might have to be it, because I can't really see how else you do it without aggroing them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because they get some pretty close.
The one they find that's like non-aggressive for whatever reason.
Right. I mean, some of them, like, they get up close to fireflies and dull-yaks.
I suppose they could have used pets for some of them, but...
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, definitely go check it out. First-person camera, I think, is going to lead to a lot of really interesting videos. And also some of the other kind of camera options, like moving horizontal and vertical, should lead to some pretty interesting stuff. And that's just the first step. So, Drek, you also posted the new Sounds of Tyria this week.
I did, and as promised, I have left factions, and we have moved on to the third expansion, Nightfall. And actually, I guess campaign is a better word. It's not really expansion.
Right. Yeah.
It was released on October 27th, 2006.
Wow.
And if you don't realize, Nightfall is set in the North African-themed content of Ilona. And the track I spotlighted for the first look at that soundtrack is called The Land of the Golden Sun. And just like with the other soundtracks and the other songs, Jeremy Sewell does a great job of getting you the feel of what the expansion is going to be like, because this sounds very much like African-type music. There's a lot of drums in it. And kind of get you all hyped up to go explore some desert lands in Ilona.
Ooh.
So be sure to check that out, and we'll be spotlighting Nightfall for a while, because it is like a really big soundtrack. There was a lot of songs on the Nightfall soundtrack.
Cool.
And minor spoiler alert, I think it might be my favorite of all the soundtracks.
That's not a spoiler track.
Well, maybe it is, in case people were waiting for me to reveal that later.
Sure.
So yeah, go check out The Land of the Golden Sun from Guild Wars Nightfall soundtrack.
All right, and this week's weekly community outfit, because nobody is sending me any of their pretty characters, I had to post my own pretty character, who I just made this week. I made another Sylvari, and I made a Sylvari engineer, and his name is Kythier, and he, in this outfit that I posted, he is using the Magitech medium armor, like top, the jerkin or whatever, and the Scarlet's shoulder guards. And it's all very orange and brown to match his skin and glow and hair colors. So, yeah. Please send me your pictures of your characters, because I love looking at pictures of people's characters. And I would love to post your pictures of your characters on our site and talk about how awesome they are. Seriously, like, at least 20% of my game time is spent just looking at people's characters in the Grove. So send me your pictures of your characters. You can send them to contact@guildwarsplayers.com with the subject line weekly outfit, and I would love you forever if you do that. So this week we do have a lore book entry finally. Sorry for the past few weeks where I haven't had one. Time zones are weird and all that. But this is the lore book where we take a look at a place, a character, a race, or an artifact, and we examine the lore surrounding it and why it's important to our gameplay. This week I'm going to be talking about the Norn, which is a race that you can play, so it's pretty obvious how it affects our gameplay. Basically, the Norn, there's not a whole lot known about their origins, like where they came from specifically. Like they come from the far Shiver Peaks generally, but you know, on a more specific, way back kind of origin. There's not a whole lot known. The Kodan, though, believe that the Norn are a long-separated branch of Kodan who kind of became lesser by not being bears or something. It's not entirely sure. However, the Norn believe that the spirit of the wild bear granted them the ability to change into bears. But we'll get into that in a second. So, appearance-wise, Norn are pretty similar to humans, which is interesting, seeing as how humans are not from Tyria, actually, at all. But the difference is that Norn are much taller and generally broader and more muscular. They have the ability to change into a were-creature form, corresponding to a certain spirit of the wild, usually raven, wolf, snow leopard, or bear. And these are the main spirits of the wild that they kind of worship, and they construct totems to them, and basically they believe that these spirits have helped them deal with Jormag and other things. Some spirits of the wild have actually been killed by Jormag, and if you go to Holbrook, you'll see that they have like a little memorial shrine to these spirits of the wild who were lost while the Norn were fleeing from Jormag when Jormag awoke. Generally, they're a highly individualistic nomadic society. They value honor and glory and growing their legend. And by growing their legend, they ensure that they will not be forgotten, which is really the number one thing that Norn fear, is being thought of as weak and being forgotten about. So they try to do all these heroic things and take on any challenge that comes their way so they can grow their legend. Generally, they're pretty positive. Like, they don't let things get them down too much generally. And yeah, they just take on any challenge given to them. So that is the Norn. Pretty interesting. So obviously, if you've played a Norn, you pick up a lot of that while you play them and do your personal story. So Jack, speaking of Norns, you play a Norn.
I do.
What did you do on your Norn this week?
My main is a Norn, as a matter of fact.
I know.
Yeah. Let's see. How can I put this nicely? I went into a fit of rage this week.
Yeah, we were there.
We, Sithrith and Athelros and myself decided that we were finally going to finish our personal stories, and we were going to go kill the dragon for the personal story. So we ran that dungeon. We decided we were going to 3-man it, just because we're awesome that way.
We are pretty awesome.
And
actually,
we didn't have too many problems. We did die a couple times, but we kind of figured out what we were doing wrong in a couple parts, and we actually managed to defeat that and finish the personal story.
3-man it, yeah. We're awesome.
So we were like all excited, and then you guys were talking about how you had a quest that popped up that you were supposed to go and finish it off, and I didn't get that quest pop up. So I looked at my journal, and I didn't see it, and I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. Well, then I noticed that I had my personal story kind of turned off, and I was in the living story. So when I turned the living story off and went back into my personal story, it still has me as not completing that quest.
Yeah, that happened.
So I was not too happy,
to say the least.
So I emailed support and have not heard back from them yet, which I hear that can take a while because they get inundated with support tickets. So hopefully they can fix that for me and we won't have to run that again, but we might be running...
We might be running Kill Zhaitan again.
We might be killing Zhaitan again, that's right. So I don't know.
Yeah, that put a real damper on it because we were so excited because like we finally did it because we've been.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about this quite a lot on the podcast. We've been trying to go through all the dungeons in order, and we were finally like, yeah, we're gonna kill Zhaitan. We 3-manned it, so it was like, oh gosh, we're so cool.
Yeah. It was great, and we actually did good, and we were actually using strategy, and it was awesome. And then that happened. So I don't know. I'm hoping they can like do something because I did get the achievement for killing Zhaitan, and I did get one other thing for killing him, but it didn't update my personal story, so I'm hoping they can see that I did get that achievement, and I got the achievement for doing all the dungeons, that was it.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm hoping they can look at that, and they can just, like, flag it so I can finish it, but I guess we'll see.
Yeah, that's pretty obnoxious. They have to have it on the tracker for it to count.
Yeah, and then I kind of was doing some Googling on it, and it looks like this is kind of a known issue because I found a lot of people that were complaining about that.
Okay.
So a word of warning and a hint for anybody that has not done that yet. Make sure that quest is active in your tracker when you're going to do that dungeon, if you want to get credit for it.
Mm-hmm.
But on the plus side, I got to hang out with Zoja a lot in that dungeon, so that was good. And there was one part where you have to protect her while she's doing something, and then it was kind of funny because you just said, well, I guess we know what Drax's job's going to be.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's like, I was like, yeah, I'm already on it. I'm there. I'm watching her, So that was fun. I did play my Necro a little bit. Still, I was kind of trying to finish up the personal story and everything before I worked on my Necro. I think that's the next one I'm going to get to level 80. Yeah. So I should probably be playing my Necro a lot. And I did do a little bit in the original Guild Wars. I was doing some vanquishing, which is part intense. Of... Yeah, it is. Basically... vanquishing in Guild Wars is where you go to one area of the map and you have to kill all enemies on the map.
Ooh, genius.
And then once you do that, you are the vanquisher of that map in that area, and you get points that go into your Hall of Monuments for doing that. So I vanquished one area, and I still have a ton more to do, so... That's just something that, I can kind of hop on and do, because that takes, it depends what areas you're doing, but usually I can vanquish an area in about 45 minutes to an hour. It depends what area it is.
That sounds so funny. Usually I can vanquish an area in about, 40 minutes. It's not a big deal. I'll just go vanquish it.
Yeah, let's go vanquish it. No big deal. And another word of warning for that, if you plan on doing that, that can only be done in hard mode.
Ooh.
Which is a lot harder than regular mode in Guild Wars.
Good to know.
It is quite the challenge to do stuff in hard mode in Guild Wars. So, little word of warning with that. So that was pretty much my week in Guild Wars. I was pretty bummed out about the whole personal story, not getting credit for killing Zhaitan thing. So I'm hoping Rena and support can help me out with that.
Mm-hmm.
But if not, I guess we're going to go killing a dragon again.
And we can always 5-man it this time, so it goes a bit faster.
Yeah, I was going to say, we can maybe...
actually have the correct number of people.
We can try to get some guild members, and we'll do a guild run of it or something, and get that taken care of. But
Yeah, and Screenager in the chat says, look, if it makes you feel any better, I've been playing since beta, haven't finished the personal story yet or done world completion. So... you know.
Well, awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I know other people also, like the people who got me into Guild Wars 2, they have not finished it either. So I think that's pretty common, actually. But speaking of necromancers, Thalros.
I have nothing to say.
Sure.
I think you do.
I think you're a liar.
Sure you do.
I think you're a liar.
I think all of our listeners are really going to hear what you have to say, so
it's going to come out eventually.
The floor is yours. The floor is yours.
Well, I think I said in like a few previous episodes that I've been struggling trying to come up with an alt, or at least like one I can stick with. So I figured I'd make a sort of the essence of all my hatred and self-loathing into one character. So I thought, wow, what could be less appropriate than Asura Necromancer? Because I dislike both of those, more so the Asura.
Oh, I would say you a little bit more than dislike.
Yeah, Asura.
Dislike's a pretty weak word for your feelings.
I made my feelings clear on Asura, but yeah, I haven't actually really leveled it properly yet, but it's something I'm sort of considering at this point, possibly.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
This is partially influenced by the new faces that came out, and I think like one or two of them for the Asura were described as creepy, which they are because they're smiling, which is very unnerving for anyone who's seen an Asura. You don't want to.
So you figure you'll just go all the way on the unnerving and make it a necromancer?
Yeah, why not? Make it the most creepy looking Asura I've ever made, and yeah, roll with that maybe. We'll see.
This is going to be fun.
Maybe.
But the question is, are you going to use minions?
No.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally possible. I still never use minions, and my necromancer is my main now, so...
Yeah. Incidentally, I decided to name him Fafnir after the dragon in the final instance.
I forgot about that. Oh, yeah. In the Zhaitan fight, you fight a couple lesser little, like, champion dragons, and one is called, what was it, Fafnir?
Fafnir, I think it was, yeah.
And so we were making a lot of, like, faffing around jokes, and, oh, gosh, Fafnir. That's
very
brilliant.
Inappropriate name for a dragon. I'm sorry, it is.
It really is. But, oh, yeah, and speaking of Zhaitan is creepy looking. Like...
Yeah.
It is a freaky looking dragon. I mean, he's the dragon of the undead, so I guess, like, he's totally supposed to, and they nailed it. It's a freaky looking dragon.
Yeah, in that...
I don't want to talk about too much about it so that you're also surprised by the freakiness if you haven't seen him. It's scary.
Yeah, when they actually show him, like, towards the end of it, it's really, really nice. Nice how they show it, that is.
Mm-hmm. Not actually nice looking.
They actually managed to make it look different from, I guess, Tequaddles, because it basically all looked like that before.
Mm-hmm.
But he looked a lot different from those.
Yes, he looks very different from Tequaddle. Tequaddle could, like, pass for being pretty cute. Zhaitan? No.
Asura? Nope.
Asura? Nope. Yeah. So are you saying maybe a surface spawn of Zhaitan?
Just as ugly as Tequaddle. Sorry?
Are you saying that Asura are like the spawn of Zhaitan? Because
maybe.
Same level of
I'm pretty
creepiness?
sure that's what he just said.
Wow.
If Asura are children of Mordramoth, then theoretically...
I don't think Asura are children of Mordramoth. I think you, that'd be interesting, but no, not Asura. I think you meant Sylvari. But anyway.
That's what I meant. But yeah, possibly.
So yeah, this week I did that personal story. I made the Sylvari engineer, like I said, because I have a salad problem. He's level 20, but I haven't actually, like, leveled him. I just used Tomes of Knowledge. But here's the thing. So I made this character, and I haven't really had any problems leveling any other characters up to this point. But now that I've spent so much time PvPing, I tried to, like, level this engineer. Like, I tried to go into Caledon Forest and, you know, level up like I always do. But it just felt so boring. And I was like, what is this? This was so nice before. And I'm one of those people who just has to PvP now. I don't know what's going on. So I've taken my engineer into PvP, and I've been doing practice matches with him because I feel like practice, like, it's definitely not as balanced. There's been a couple of fights where it's just me by myself on a team fighting two people, and that sucks. But at least I don't feel as bad when I do terribly. And yes, Screener is saying one of us. I am a PvPer now. What is happening? I didn't expect this to happen. but now it's all I do in Dungeons, I guess. I don't know what's happened to me. So been doing more PvP. I got to rank 30, so I'm a wolf now, I guess. And did more Vine Wrath stuff on my Necromancer because money and loot is good generally. And other than that, yeah. I spent so long making that Sylvari Engineer. So long with the Total Makeover kit. But he's got like dark brown skin and orange hair and blue eyes and orange glow, and he looks pretty cool. So, yeah. Yeah, did you guys do anything else this week, or is that about it?
That's about it. Maybe I did a little bit of PvPing, but not too much.
Oh, yeah, we did PvP. The Thelros is actually not bad at PvP. We did a match before the podcast, I totally forgot. And he scored as the top player in the match. I scored at the bottom. So, there you go.
He's not awful at everything.
Yeah.
And you were on your Mesmer doing that, probably, I'm guessing?
That's the only character I have, so it would have to be a...
Yeah, that's what I thought. I
still using the whole
great
sword staff combo. From what the website seems to suggest, it seems to work pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, based
Although
on...
I hate thieves. It's so annoying.
Thieves are jerks, yeah. But yeah, you seem to be doing pretty good, so definitely much better than when I started off PvPing.
Well, you say so.
I do say so. So there. Anyway, so we don't have any questions this week for Guild Wars 2 Academy, but we would love if you have any questions, or if you're wondering something about the game, or if you need advice or something about the game, send it to us. Email us at podcast@guildwarsplayers.com. You can tweet at us at GWPlayers. You can even post to our Facebook page. We have a Facebook page as Guild Wars Players. You know, that's pretty reasonable, you know, not unexpected. So, you know, find one of our many channels of communication and just, you know, ask us whatever questions you have about the game. We would be happy to answer and help you out. This week we also got a donation from Twitter user @GrilledCheese28, who's also in our guild in Guild Wars 2, donated to our Patreon and said, just donated, really like the Guild Wars Players News Show, keep up the great work. Thanks, Grilled Cheese. You are the best of sandwiches, I'd say. Just my opinion. If you would like to help support Guild Wars Players, you can go to our donation page at guildwarsplayers.com, and you can support the Players Alliance Network, which is the network that we're a part of. We have a Patreon under that name, and you can find rewards like getting a mention like I just did for Grilled Cheese, or you can even come onto the show and be a guest with us, which is fun, I think. I like being on the show every week. We didn't get any new iTunes reviews, but, you know, feel free to go to iTunes, look us up, and do that. We'd really appreciate it. We do have a featured comment this week. Zero Kitsune commented on the Lion's Arch commemorative sale and said, permanent Captain's Airship Pass is one of my favorite luxury items in the game. On the top of the listed features, it offers quick access to the daily activity, guild resources like bank, vendors, etc., and a shortcut to each of the main cities by talking to the helmsman. Also a fun note, at this time it's located on an active map in Gendaran Fields. I've noticed it flying overhead, and it's kind of frustrating because if you're on the ground and you're like looking at your mini-map, it's like, oh, look at all these like services that are like right near me, and you're like, wait, where are they? This is just a mountain range. What is going on? It's in the airship above. That's the captain's airship. So, yeah, it seems like a pretty cool thing. Maybe one day I'll get one and see what it's like. Seems pretty cool. So, that's about it. You can contact us again at podcast@guildwarsplayers.com is our email. We check it every day. And you can follow us on Twitter. The Players Alliance Network is @PlayersAlly on Twitter. We are @GWPlayers. I'm @Sithrith. Draculetta is @Draculetta_72. Thelros is @Thelros. And of course, we're all in game on Guild Wars 2. You can find me at Sithrith.6741. Draculetta is Draculetta.7410. And Thelros is Thelros.3164. The Players Alliance has a whole bunch of live shows besides this one. Mondays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern is DDO Players News. Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern is this show. Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern is Lotro Players News. And you can find the links to all these live shows by going to guildwarsplayers.com/live. The link is there. Get to the chat room. Chat with whoever is broadcasting. It's a fun time. So, this is Sithrith. Thank you very much for listening. And don't forget to look before you leap.